Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Shadowrun Returns, Episode 2. We are back after a flashback, looking at the death of Dowd and fighting with our friend Sam and some other shaman whose name I've already forgotten. We're back in our apartment now. You stare at Sam's face on your comlink. Shake off the memory. Focus. We're going to continue today with our adventure. So we just got a message from Sam. Apparently he's died. He sent us something. We don't really know what, so why don't we click ahead and find out.
I had your back that night, didn't I? Now I'm asking myself, who would I care if I die? Who would care if I die? He said. Who would give a rat's ass? Better or worse, your name's at the top of my list. Maybe it's the only name on the list. So I set up a dead man switch to send you this call. I got 100,000 nuyen insurance policy, payable when you find who creased me. Alive with a conviction or in a body bag with justification. Either works. Contact my law firm, Rogers, Mengert, and McCain, when the job is done. They'll know what to do. He turns to his left. Chet? The camera swivels to show a well-dressed man sitting next to Sam. Pursuant to Mr. Watt's wishes, Rogers, Mengert, and McCain has installed a secure, dedicated phone line, so you may contact us directly when the task is complete. We will then begin a verification process. Note that you must also be on a secure landline to access this number. We will not accept transmissions from comlinks or other devices. The camera swivels back to Sam. Sam straightens up, talks seriously. First time. Look, Dracia. I've led a Drek life, and I probably left a Drek corpse. I've hurt people. Hurt myself. I don't know. Maybe I just want the last word. Maybe I just want someone to give a crap that I sucked air for a while. What do you say? I'd say I've traded a drinking buddy for a paycheck. Hope you just said yes. I've got a locator chip slotted in my head these days. When my heart stops, it'll activate. That's how you'll find me. See you on the slab. Well, Seattle can't be any worse than this. Right? Alright, so we're continuing the Dead Man switch. So the way that this game works is that you've basically got maps that you transition between. You do get to return to some of them, but there's not really like an overworld that you get to click on, so you can't just return to any location you want. It's fairly linear in that way. You do get to explore, but once you've been to a location and you leave, that's pretty much it. So you need to get whatever you want in each area when you're there. There is one or two areas you return to quite often, but you don't really know what those are going into it, so you gotta be careful. Get a little drink of water there. Your plane hits the SeaTac tarmac with a jolt. Welcome to Seattle. The chilly northwest rain obscures your vision as you step onto the tarmac. Before long, you're sitting in the cramped backseat of a cab, following the signal from Sam's locator chip into the heart of the Redmond Barrens. Organ grinders, a legal chop shop for body parts, whether from the living or the dead. If you're hurting bad enough for nuyen, this is the place to sell a limb or an organ. It's also a good place to dispose of an inconvenient body while making a little cash on the side. This franchise is the closest thing the Barrens has to a morgue. It seems this is where Sam Watt's body has ended up. You open the door and are assaulted by the smell of death and bleach. Alright, so our objective is to ask the coroner about Sam Watts. Before we go in, we're going to open up the menu here and take a look at what we've got. So everything I just read is right here under objectives. We've also got a mission items tab, which we won't be using right now. This is our character sheet. You can see our stats, hit points, action pool, armor, essence, magic, all that good stuff. We'll probably be referring to this a little more once we start to level up. I do like that they divide things up by stat. So for example, strength
affects close combat and throwing weapons, quickness affects ranged combat and dodge, etc., etc. Kind of lets you know which stats you want to level up in case you're interested in, for us, we're interested in intelligence because that's where decking and ESP control is. If we were doing drone control or drone combat, it would also go there. This is our inventory. This is where our weapons go. If we had spells, they would go here. Items go here. We've also got cyberware. This is a data jack. This will allow us to supposedly jack into the matrix. Very useful. We've also got settings here and the save. I'm going to go ahead and save right now. This is kind of my old stuff here. Pay no attention to these if you don't want to be spoiled. Probably should have thought about that before I started up. Sorry, guys. Alright, so we've saved, and now we get to explore this morgue. It's always a good idea to kind of mouse over things just to see if there's anything to click on. So someone's telling us they're in the back. Why don't we go and see who's there? The smell of death and decomposition washes over you, only slightly masked by the minty fake fresh of industrial grade antiseptic. It's a lovely description. So this is the guy we're going to talk to advance the story, which means we need to ignore him and look around the rest of the room because that's what you do in RPGs. Doesn't look like there's anything else around, so let's just go talk to him. Oh dear God. That is terrifying. I forgot about this guy. Yeah, wow, that's nightmare fuel. Really glad I'm playing this late at night. Hovering over the recently departed is a small dwarf, whistling a tune. His broad grin says, "I love my job." It also says that he likes to eat puppies. A little more than you'd want or expect from someone of the chop shop trade. As you approach, he looks up with a lopsided grin. There's something kindly in his eyes? Yeah, I don't get that. Though it might just be a stray reflection of chrome and surgical tools. Sorry, didn't expect any visitors at this hour, and some asshole at corporate took my receptionist. What can I do for you, ma'am? Are you a coroner? I'm John Dresden, the organ grinders branch manager here. So yeah, that makes me this franchise area's coroner too. And you are? No one you've ever heard of. Now tell me about Sam Watts. He fixes you with a hard gaze. Careful, friend. I can have Lone Star here in 2 minutes. Now what makes you think I'd know anything about Sam Watts? Sam had a locator chip embedded in his skull. I followed it here. I see. Well, you're right, he's here. Not too many people know about the murder yet, though. The press haven't caught wind of it yet, what with it being all the way out here in the Barrens. So who told you he was dead? Sam's digital ghost. When his heart stopped, I got sent a recorded message asking me to bring his killer to justice. Guess he had a hunch. Nah, we're gonna go with this one because we're a bit of a jerk. Sam did. When his heart stopped, 100,000 nuyen was wired to a secure account in my name. I find the killer. I get paid. The dwarf raises his eyebrows, a smile wiping the suspicion from his face. A dead man's switch, eh? Fascinating. I was working on him earlier. He's over here. So he's running over there, apparently. He just really loves his job. So much so that he would just like to run everywhere, from one dead body to another. He's my second Emerald City Ripper victim. The third one was downtown. Ripper, huh? I guess the classics never go out of style. He sighs. Not my title. That's what the Seattle Press insists on calling the killer. All I know is that, like the original Jack, our Ripper knows how to handle a scalpel, but this one's even more twisted. He or she always removes an internal organ from the victim. Delicious. A trophy hunter. What was it? Watts's liver was cleanly cut out. How about the other lucky contestants? The first victim's heart was missing, and the third had the spleen removed. Dresden! Get out here! This guy's name is McCluskey. I can't think of a more perfect name for a guy that looks like this. I'm here about the new Ripper Vic, Sam Watts. Come on, click. You piece of crap. There we go. Towering over the dominion of coroner is a homicide detective right out of central casting. If you ignore the tusks, pointed ears, and a Neanderthal brow, you can smell his cheap aftershave from a mile away.
So this new Ripper Vic, Watts. Name's familiar.
Didn't his mother kill herself a while back? The coroner frowns.
So you insisted at the time.
He chortles. That's a wonderful word.
Come on, she offed herself. I had a very good authority. Now let's go, Dresden. Give me something to work with here. This Ripper case is my ticket to a lieutenant's badge.
I've already posted everything I know. The killer stuns the target with a combination of drugs and magic, then removes a single internal organ while they're still alive. The perpetrator is most likely right-handed, with a slim hand that knows its way around a scalpel, has a decent understanding of human and metahuman anatomy, too.
So I'm looking for a whacked-out surgeon?
Not necessarily. I don't know any surgeon who still uses scalpels anymore. These days it's all done with computer-controlled lasers. Could be anyone from a military field surgeon to an antique medicine aficionado.
You're no damn help, dwarf.
The Lone Star detective finally notices you. You notice superhuman powers of observation.
Who the hell are you?
Alright, so right here you can see we've got a grayed out option. It says strength 4, none of your business, lumpy. It's grayed out because we do not have a strength of 4. In fact, we might even be able to look at that now. Yep. Our strength is only 3. So sadly we won't be able to use that. We could kind of like bully him if we wanted to. So we've got these other 3 options here. This last one is way too friendly, so we're just going to roll that out immediately. I'm the nobody who didn't hear nothing.
That's right. And if you ever do hear something, I'll knock it right out of your head.
He looks back at the dwarf.
Dresden, get me more. I'm putting someone in a cell or a box this week and claiming my promotion.
Charming. Dresden looks amused.
Do you always make friends that easily?
I'm great at dinner parties, too. He cocks his head to one side.
Be straight with me? You really gonna work for the dead man?
A job's a job, and this one pays better than most.
Fascinating again.
Detective McCluskey isn't interested in anything but Detective McCluskey. He'd convict his own mother if it meant another 10 nuyen a week in his paycheck. Plus, he's on the take. Dresden pauses, considering. You have honor after a fashion. I try to honor the dead in my work, so we have that in common.
Sure.
We have honor. Yes. Much honor.
What can I do to help you?
Alright, so this is kind of a, backstory dump. We could click on all of these options and it'll go on and on and on about all the interesting things this game has. It actually is pretty interesting. I think that I could probably pad this playthrough a million times over just by clicking all these, so I'm not going to do that. Plus, I don't think our characters want to really ask a million questions. So I'll just ask a couple that I think my character would ask, just for some flavor. We're not going to ask all of these. If you want to do that, buy the game and play it. It's really good. It's worth your time and money. What are organs worth these days? A whole healthy body can be worth a bunch of nuyen, but individual organs? Not worth as much anymore. What with all the synth and cyber stuff on the market these days? Organ Grinders only deals in the recently deceased. There's plenty of other chop shops that aren't as picky, though, and they don't care where the bodies come from either. Who still uses scalpels? Doctors still learn how to use them in their first year of medical school, as do coroners, but neither profession uses them much anymore. It's possible some of the slimier chop shops still use scalpels, I suppose, but I wouldn't know where to look. I just need to know one more thing. Where was Sam killed? Oh, we gained some karma. Dresden looks up at you intently for a moment before speaking. You know, I might be able to do you one better. Why don't you poke around those body lockers in the back and see if you find anything useful? Okay then, I'll go do that. Alright, so before we go and do that, we are going to spend our karma. We've got 2 points. And this is the exact same screen that we had when we created our character. So, we can put a point in here if we want. And you can see that as I select this, it unlocks all the level 2 tiers underneath it. That's kind of what this little, I don't know what you would call this, but that's basically what this means. So if I want to get the level 5 shotgun ability wide load, I would need to get range combat up to level 5. It's kind of an interesting way to do it. So it's basically gating all of these things below it. The same applies to quickness. So if I want to get range combat to level 4, I've got to put 4 points into quickness. It's just the way this game works. Kind of interesting. So we've got 2 points. We could put them into range combat, which is not a bad idea. It would increase our chance to hit with ranged weapons. Let's take a look as well. We could put it into close combat if we wanted, or I guess even into melee weapons. What does this do again? Grants a bonus to the hit points recovered when using a med kit. That's fine, I guess. We could also put some points into ESP control. I don't remember how quickly we can go into the Matrix. I don't want to be completely useless when we go in there, but I also don't want to be completely useless in ranged combat either. So basically we just have a choice to make here. We can either guess that we will be in range combat first or the Matrix first. It's possible we'll also be in both. So, as much as I don't really want to, I am going to put it in range combat. Only because I don't want to die. Whereas if, I believe if your avatar in the Matrix dies, you basically just get kicked out. So, you know, we are playing on the hard mode. We've got to think a little more strategically here. We can't just put points willy-nilly into this. We've kind of got to go with whatever works. So we're going to confirm that. And there we go. We've leveled up a little bit. This seems like a good place for the cut. We've made it to Seattle. We figured out what Sam wanted from us. And we can see that there's something mysterious in these morgue lockers here, and it also looks like there's some icons here. I won't leave you in suspense for that. Let's go pick that up before we cut. We got a basic med kit and a dock wagon basic trauma kit. There you go, guys. Thanks so much for watching. We will see you next time. Goodbye.